Welcome back, viewers. Today's story is a brave account from Tomas from Denmark. He shares a deeply personal experience about losing his virginity in Bangkok at the age of 37 and the unexpected emotional journey it took him on. Tomas, a 37-year-old virgin from Denmark, travels to Bangkok and out of curiosity and a desire to get it over with, decides to visit a go-go bar. He meets a woman and reveals his inexperience. What follows is not just a sexual encounter, but a surprising connection and a re-evaluation of his own views on intimacy and the sex industry. Alright, let me tell you my story. I'm 37 years old, and up until very recently, I was a virgin. Yes, you read that right. I know what you're probably thinking, and you wouldn't be alone. Most people who know me would be completely shocked to learn that I, a seemingly not so socially awkward individual, had yet to do the deed. I've had girlfriends in the past, my last relationship ending a couple of years ago, but for one reason or another, sex just never happened. I'm not sharing this for sympathy or ridicule, but it's crucial context for what unfolded next. I found myself in Bangkok on an extended layover, a couple of days to kill. Curiosity, that powerful, quiet force, eventually got the better of me. I decided to check out the infamous go-go bars, though I quickly found they weren't really my scene. But after 37 years of abstinence, I figured, it's time to just get it over with. This wasn't about passion or erotic desire. It was almost an intellectual exercise. I just needed to understand what sex with a real woman felt like. I know it sounds incredibly sad, but honestly, my life is otherwise rich and fulfilling. Just, sans intercourse. I did my research, perusing the internet, and settled on a particular woman who had been featured before. And so, with a mix of nerves and shyness, I found myself in my hotel room, face to face with an incredibly attractive lady. My first instinct was to dive into the minibar to calm my frayed nerves, but I resisted. I wanted to be stone cold sober for what I genuinely expected to be a life-changing experience. From the moment she arrived, I felt compelled to be open with her. I'm a first-timer, I confessed, though even now I'm not entirely sure why. The questions from her started innocently enough. Oh, first time in Bangkok? Then progressed to no. Then first time with a Bangkok girl? Each step felt excruciatingly awkward. When I finally blurted out that it was my first time for everything, she was genuinely surprised. But, to her immense credit, she was incredibly gracious about it. We spent the first half hour or so just talking. I asked her a lot about her life, and she seemed remarkably honest and forthcoming. Call me naive, but it was important to me that she was a person with a name, a background, a story. Eventually, things naturally escalated. Hands started roving, and the familiar movements of foreplay was something I recognized, so I wasn't a complete starfish. There's no need to go into the intimate details here. I'm sure most readers are well aware of the machinations. So I'll skip to the pivotal moment. About 2 minutes into my life's first insertion and the natural movements that followed, I abruptly stopped. It wasn't a lack of arousal. This woman was absolutely gorgeous. And it wasn't my greenhorn fumbling, though I was certainly clumsy. It was a sudden, clear realization that my dream had just gone poof. I simply didn't want to go any further. My package had included 2 rounds, but I hadn't even made it through one. She thought it was her fault and kept asking why, insisting I continue. In hindsight, maybe she was actually enjoying herself, but given my amateurish performance, that seems unlikely. She genuinely seemed upset and truly wanted to please me. After convincing her I was truly done, I explained why. Let me be clear. I make no moral judgments on anyone, so I'm certainly not positioning myself as superior. But in that moment, I realized that while I was physically aroused, there was no intimacy at all. None of that deep desire and longing, a level that transcends mere lust, that I had experienced with previous girlfriends I genuinely loved and was close to. It was just, well, sex. And frankly, it was a little boring. Furthermore, while I understood it was her choice to earn money this way, I had gotten to know her well enough to know that I didn't want to perpetuate the use of this beautiful person, inside and out, under these circumstances. After I explained that it really wasn't her, but rather my realization that for me, emotional and physical union are inseparable, and that I felt she deserved better, again, no judgments on anyone, she calmed down significantly. We then spent an hour in the dark, locked in a naked embrace. Sheath still on, mind you. And, we just talked. I had only booked her for an hour or so, but she ended up staying for 3, only leaving because it was getting late, and I felt she needed to get home safely. We spent the last half hour or so sharing photos of her life, her family, her acts of charity. We talked about dreams, hopes, and desires, even candidly discussing her work. This truly felt like the GFE, or girlfriend experience that people talk about. And if it weren't for the echoes of legions of Farang with heartbreak stories playing in the back of my mind, I might have fallen for this girl in a big way. At one point, she even wept while sharing some of her life with me. Incidentally, her tears had nothing to do with her line of work. I made sure to keep things strictly on the level, all while being genuinely interested in what she had to share. Eventually, I told her it was late and for her own sake, she should leave. I opened the hotel door for her, but before stepping out, she closed it and turned to give me a big bear hug. I'm still not sure if that's the norm. I walked her to her taxi and we said our goodbyes, but not before I slipped her a sizable tip. She asked if I would look her up again if I'm ever in town, so we could spend some time together as friends. As tempting as it is, she is easily among the hottest girls I've seen in Thailand, and that's saying something. I know this path can only lead to a world of pain. So, with a touch of pain myself, I acknowledge that I will probably never see her again. Now, a couple of weeks later, I'm back home, reflecting on everything that happened that day. I can categorically say, without judgment to anyone else, that was the last time I will ever pay for sex. I simply believe I'm unable to enjoy it without true intimacy. If that means I never experience it again, so be it. Life goes on. I also find myself a little less critical about the sex industry in Bangkok. While, of course, there are many in the world forced into sex slavery, which should be abhorred, for this particular woman, it was a choice. A choice made by weighing the needs of her family and community back in her village against the earning potential, and her admission that it wasn't her first choice of profession, to put it mildly. But the bottom line is she willfully chose this line of work with her eyes wide open. Overall, I'm genuinely glad I took that step. I look upon that encounter with a lot of fondness. The part I enjoyed the most was the talking, the sharing, the connecting. In fact, though technically I no longer carry the V card, the reality is the banging itself is but a distant memory. I look forward to truly burning the V card again in the future, under the right and genuine circumstances. So, what do you think of Tomas's story? Did his experience surprise you? Have you ever had an experience that changed your perspective on something? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more fascinating stories.